Good morning. I wanted to do my vlog live today with everyone. I was led to talk about how men go through things too. We know because it's always highlighted and it's always talked about that women have been sexually abused, um, physically abused, mentally abused. Um, us as women, we a lot of times are single parents. We grew up unloved, um, been through a lot of stuff in childhood, and struggle to take care of our household. But what I want to shed some light on is that those same things that us as women have experienced, I think that we need to be able to be open to know that a lot of the things that we have been through, men have been through too. And it's definitely been a major eye opener speaking to a lot of men over the last few weeks, and men being very open with me about stuff they've never been open with anyone about. And all I can sit back and think is some of these men have held in stuff that has happened to them for a long time. Now, us as women, we understand how it is to go through something and have to hold it inside. And it's tearing us up and eating us up. Men go through that same thing, though. Do we understand that? I need us to understand. Because it's not always about, and it shouldn't be about, tearing a man down. But just like we carry stuff with us for years, and how we go through different depressions, they do too. They just don't talk about it. They're just not open about it. That's how men are. But I feel like we need to create an environment where men can be that way with us. If they feel attacked all the time and they feel we're against them all the time, they're not going to be open with us. We have to open up that communication and be open for them to come to us about anything. I just feel like even I'm gonna touch on even men transitioning from prison, out into society. It's very difficult. I don't know if y'all ladies really understand or grasp that, but I'm gonna be honest with you. My brother did a lot of time, so I was very hands-on of the obstacles that came his way coming home from prison. And I feel like if I can be compassionate about my brother that's trying to come home and trying to find a job and, transition back into society and not be judged, I feel like I can have that same compassion for another man. Because when we're compassionate when it comes to the men in our family. But then it's like we measure the men that we could possibly date and be in a relationship by a different measure. And that's not right. That's not right. I'm so sorry. We have to measure, those men just like we're going to measure our family members. Because if we understand that our family members are having a hard time transitioning from prison and getting a job and things like that, that should apply to all men in that situation, you know? And when I say that, I think I've shared in a vlog before that I went to prison for a week. And with me going to prison, well, county jail for a week, I came out, I was very devastated by the treatment, and devastated by some other things. And I was only there for a week. So I sat down and I said, some of these men are in for years. Years. I could never imagine how they felt. I know how I felt after a week of being there. I couldn't imagine how they felt being there for years. And you have to come home and you have to transition back into society. And it's always in your mind everything you went through when you were in jail or you were in prison. I know a lot of people seen the documentary about Khalif Browder, and that had me in tears, just what this young man as a teenager went through in prison. I think if you haven't seen it, you need to see it to really understand what, is happening in county jail in prison. But this man endured a lot. And that's what makes me be compassionate and understand. I'm going to tell you, my son's father came home. And I know it wasn't nothing but God, because I was very angry with him for a long time. Because I just wanted him to take care of his child. That was it. I was very angry. I didn't have no compassion. I didn't have no understanding. And that's what we need. We need compassion and we need understanding. Because we're not perfect. We're not perfect. And everybody's imperfect in different areas of life in different ways. But us as people, we judge people. We judge people because in one area of life we may be very strong. So if we're strong in that area, we're judging other people, in the area that we're strong, that they're weak in. You see what I'm saying? Knowing that we have our own weaknesses in different areas of life. So my son's dad came home. And, I wanted nothing but for him and my son to have a relationship with each other. So I took those extra steps. I took my son to the halfway house to visit him. When he came out, I would, pick him up and drop him and my son off at a restaurant, so they can, have lunch or dinner or whatever. It was important to me for him to be involved with my son. And, if I had to lead it or initiate it, that was fine with me. I love my son, and I know he loves his father. But knowing that he just came home from prison, I didn't hound him about helping in a financial way. I was more concerned about the relationship, them spending time with each other. That was more of my concern. Do we need help as single parents, paying the bills and providing? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I had to understand that he just came home from prison. It was going to be difficult for him to obtain employment. I couldn't sit up there and hound this man about no money. Money really wasn't important, though. This is what I want y'all to understand. The money wasn't important. It was about the relationship for me. But I really feel like we don't understand that, though. I feel like sometimes, we're angry, we're bitter, and we're hurt. And I just feel like we're not understanding that men go through things too. That's just like us women. We'll say, we're trying our best. We're doing our best. I did my best. So why when men say that they do this, I have to learn how to turn those phone calls on when I'm on live. I'm sorry. But how about when men say they're doing their best or they've tried their best, or why isn't that good enough for us? Because what we may view as best may be best for us. But we can't say that someone else didn't try their best. That's their best. I couldn't say that when my son's father's like, I'm doing my best from where I'm at. I'm doing my best just coming home from prison. I'm doing my best. It's not my place to tell him what his best is. I know what my best is, but it wasn't my place to tell him what his best was. You understand? I mean, are y'all following me? Where I'm just trying to explain that men go through things too. Men have been in foster care. Men have been adopted. Some men have been raised by a parent or parents on drugs. Some men have been sexually assaulted. Coming up, yes. Some men don't know who their real parents are. I mean the list can go on. And a lot of our men have been raised just by their mother and don't know their father. Do you understand the kind of hurt that comes behind that? The kind of hurt that comes behind your father was never around, or your father came around when he wanted to come around. Do you understand the hurt that some men are carrying around with them? And I'm not making excuses. I'm bringing real talk to the table. I feel like when we're, tearing our men down or highlighting their wrongs or highlighting their struggles, do we talk to them though? Do we talk to them and ask them what they're going through? Men aren't the kind to just say, hey, this is what I'm going through. I've spoke to a lot of men where I had to ask them, hey, are you okay? It seems like something's bothering you. Is there anything you want to talk about? I just feel like us as women feel like men go through nothing. And they're just so strong. And they could just handle everything. And that's not the case. You'll be surprised what some men are walking around with. And been walking around with it for a long time. And holding it inside, and it's killing them. Killing them. And when I talk to some of them, it's so hurtful. Because I know me going through depression. I'm not interested in anything, to be honest with you. If I'm in a severe depression, I'm not interested in no kind of activities I was doing. I'm not even interested in myself. I'm consumed in a dark space. A very dark space. And I know that men experience that too. And I'm going to tell you something. This man, he told me a week ago that it wasn't that he wasn't interested in being a father. He said, I really don't know how to be a father. I didn't have a father. I still struggle with my father not being in the home. He said he felt like his father didn't love him. His father didn't want him. His father didn't want a relationship with him. And this man was 40-something years old. Think about being 40-something and carrying something from when you were a child, though. And I'm just like, wow. He's like, Shalakemia, I didn't share this with nobody because people were too busy tearing me down and didn't even know what I was going through inside. That's my point today. My point today is us as women aren't the only ones that go through things. We're not the only ones that experience depression and anxiety and mental illness. But that's kind of all that is highlighted. Women in mental illness. Women in depression. What about our men? And there's all levels to depression. There's severe and there's mild. But all I can think about is, I don't think a lot of these men, I can't say all, but I don't think a lot of them don't want to be a father to their children. Maybe some don't know how. Maybe some are battling something inside and they lost themselves. I know I've been there where I've lost myself. I was in a dark place, a dark place, and didn't care about anything. And it wasn't a care that I was being malicious. It wasn't a care that it was just like, oh, F everybody else. I was battling something and I didn't know how to handle life. I didn't know how to handle me. So if us as people don't know how to handle us, how could we ever handle someone else? And that goes for our children too. How could we ever handle our children, handle our parents, handle anybody if we're not okay with us? It doesn't last. It depends on the person. You know, it could last for a long time. It don't matter, but I just want women to know we're not the only ones. We're not. We have to start thinking on a level like, wow, if I'm experiencing this and I'm going through this, who else is? It's not just other women. It's men as well. Carrying stuff. And that's why I feel like it's so important for us to start having conversations with the men in our life, your husband, your brothers, your sons, your father, your cousin. Men aren't built like women when it comes to expressing any emotions and things like that. A man right now close to you or in your family could be battling depression and you don't even know. You would never know. A few signs were there, but you would never know. So I just want to encourage women today. If it be your husband, your brother, your child, your uncle, your father. Let's start asking our men, are you okay? Let's start having that private conversation with them, checking on them. You know, opening up the floor for them to be able to be open. But for the men, I do want to apologize that us women have neglected y'all and have overlooked that y'all are battling things just like we battle things. You know, but I'm gonna be honest with you, there's nothing wrong with going and getting therapy. There's nothing wrong with it, I'm telling you. From somebody that's been there and about to start back up, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody. There's nothing wrong about expressing yourself. I want you to know that. Excuse me. I want you to know that. And I want you to know that I understand. But, you know, I just want, you know, every man that, you know, that watches this video to know that, you know, that I love you. And I pray that you overcome and, you know, your heart is healed. You know, in the burden is lifted. You know, I know that dark place. I know that depression. I know that hurt and that pain. And I can't believe for so much time, it was always just highlighted when women went through it. It was like, it's almost 2018. We've been overlooking our men all this time. We haven't noticed that our men were depressed. We haven't noticed that our men, were going through things that they never ever talked about. I just feel like we gotta change. We have to change, ladies. We're not victims. We're not victims. We're not. I think that we're all victims of something. But I feel like in this world, it's just been taught that men go through nothing. That women go through everything and men go through nothing. No, it's not true. It's not true. And we gotta get better, and we gotta do better. I don't care if you don't know the man. I don't know a lot of the men I talk to. But if I'm on Facebook or something and I see a man going through something, I need to reach out and say, hey, are you okay? That's my duty. That's my duty. Hey, are you okay? Because how many times are we reaching out to men and asking men, are they okay? They ask us, are we okay? Because in relationships and life, it's always about the women and how we feel and are we okay? We're not asking our men, are they okay? We're not asking them, do they need to talk? We're not seeing and identifying the hurt and the pain that they're going through or been through. We're not being there for them. I really hope that this touches someone's mind and someone's heart, that we can be better moving forward. And we can start checking on our men and asking them, are they okay? And asking them, do they need to talk? I just pray that every man that has endured some kind of hurt or pain, I'm just praying that you're healed. I just want to pray that any woman that has endured any kind of hurt and pain, that you're healed. I'm praying that we're all healed in Jesus' name. That's what I'm praying. Because we all are carrying around anger, hurt, and pain from situations that, from a child, we've all been through some stuff. But you know what? With God, we have to lean on that strength. We have to open our mind and open our hearts to healing. To healing for all of us. Not just for women. For all of us. Men too. I just wanted to share that. And I just want to talk about men go through stuff too. And let's be a little bit more compassionate. And let's be a little bit more understanding. And let's just open the door of communication. Thank y'all so much for tuning in and listening. Have an amazing day.